Hello! Welcome back to another video. This is MVP Kate here, and we'll be having another Autism Let's Talk series. So in this episode, we'll be talking about this name that is under autism spectrum diagnosis. It is called Aspergers Syndrome. Now, when you come to think of it, it's not under the diagnosis anymore. It is now considered to be an autism spectrum diagnosis because it used to be a separate thing. But I want to say my thoughts on how I feel about that word. There's a lot of people who still uses the term Asperger syndrome today, but well, I personally don't like it. And I'll explain in this video why I don't like it. So, now, as we all know, I'm on the spectrum. I was diagnosed at a young age, 3 years old, and I wasn't diagnosed with high functioning autism at the time because I had a severe case where I was nonverbal, and I couldn't talk. I made noises, but yeah, I was nonverbal. So, and I mean, my autism has changed over time, and now I'm generally a high-functioning individual. But the reason why I don't like this word, it's because it's just another label to another label to put a person into a special category, and that's how I feel about this term. And I call autism spectrum disorder a label. Well, yes and no. Now, some people define a person because of the diagnosis. But the truth is, autism does not define you. You define autism. And, so it can be a label to an extent because of the social stigma. Like, you're considered to be a special needs person. You're considered to have developmentally delayed. It's another one. But anyways, back to the topic. The reason why I don't like the name Asperger Syndrome, not just because it's just another label put onto another label, it's because, for the people who are, considered to be high-functioning autistic, but are not qualified to be under Asperger Syndrome, it gets, I don't know, I don't necessarily like it, because it makes, like, for me personally, because I wasn't diagnosed with Asperger's, I mean, yes, I've been, told by some people, like my old teacher and all, that I have it. That wasn't my original diagnosis. Now, we all know I'm high functioning, but it makes me feel like the people with Asperger's are smarter than the people with high functioning autism. And it's pretty ironic because Asperger's syndrome is high functioning autism, and then there's another category which is high functioning autism. Nowadays, they don't label Asperger's anymore, but at one point it was a separate thing, and I guess that's where I'm getting into the point. So, well, I mean, there are some bad things about the person. I forgot the name, but I think it's Asperger? I can't remember. Anyways, well, there's a person who is named Asperger, and that was his last name. And apparently this guy's, like, really bad. He's a Nazi, and um, all that. I don't really understand a lot of it because I don't do a whole ton of research on that area, but that's where the name Asperger was originally from, and it was from that guy, and there's a lot of bad things about this guy. And yeah, I haven't really researched a whole ton of that topic, but anyways, yeah, I heard some bad things about it. Though I had researched about Asperger's syndrome itself. Um, yeah, but yeah, I don't necessarily like it because it just makes you feel like, for someone who's not considered to be a person with Asperger's, but considered to be a person with high functioning autism, it makes you feel like, for me, like I said before, it makes me feel like I'm less smart than a person with full on Asperger's, um, like who actually had the diagnosis, or someone who was diagnosed with high functioning autism later in life that's also considered to be Asperger's, or people who even just um, had their original diagnosis of autism gradually grow into Asperger's syndrome. That's also considered a thing. But yeah, quit with the labels. I hate that. I'm kind of glad they actually removed that term because it's just, it sucks. Like, I know some people with ASD in the past who literally had compared each other's functioning levels, and it's not fair. Why compare each other when you could just live peacefully with one another and accept each other for who they are and encourage each other to become better people than compare each other's smarts? And this happened to me. Like, I know a few people who had ASD and who had compared themselves to me, and it really hurts. Um, this happened a few times in high school, and I don't like it at all. Um, and it's one of those reasons why I don't like the term Asperger's syndrome. And they consider Asperger's syndrome as the highest functioning form of autism spectrum disorder. And then the list goes down from there. Autism spectrum disorder is a rainbow, and then there's your different labels out of this whole spectrum. So there's like your there's like severe autism, or also known as autistic disorder. There is PDD, which is pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, and that comes in a very different range of levels. And sometimes those people are like similar to people with Asperger's, and sometimes they're more like similar to someone with severe autism, but not super severe, where you're completely nonverbal and you're stimming all the time, and you have this unique way of communicating. It's more like, how can I say this? You can speak just fine, but the way how the person acts is more obvious, I guess you could say. Because sometimes it's much more obvious to identify autistic traits in someone than others, because it's a spectrum. And there will always be one person that's a little higher than you, and it sucks very much. Um, I mean, sometimes it's good, but at the same time, like when you are similar functioning levels, and someone compares you so much about how much they don't STEM or math, or they're so good at math and you're not, and they're so good at science and you're not, and this person here is like good at playing the piano and they're not, and then they could solve the Rubik's cube, or play chess. Um, yeah, And then they just compare and compare and compare. And I know from experience that autistic people can be very competitive. I am known to be a fairly competitive person myself, and I had a history of comparing myself to others, and honestly, even today, I still have that history of comparing myself to others, and it's a really hard habit to break, especially knowing that you are neurodivergent in the first place, because you really want to fit in with society. You really want to find a place where you belong, and everyone belongs. Don't forget that. Everybody belongs. But sometimes, because of our own thinking and our own internal thoughts, we forget that. Yeah. It's tough. I don't always like it. And that's why I don't like all these names. You know, I like autism. I don't usually call people a specific name of autism, like this person has PDD on OS, and this person has Aspergers Syndrome, and this person has autistic disorder, and this person has severe autism, and moderate autism, and high functioning, and etc. Like, I just say the person has autism spectrum disorder, and people can usually see the functioning levels because of the way how the person acts, and judging your own instincts, or trusting your own judgment. Yeah, it's the best way I could say it. Like, everyone is different on the spectrum. Some people need more help than others. Some people are very independent. Some people are very high functioning. Some of them have trouble with social skills. Uh, the list goes on. As as human beings in general, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and there will always be someone who is better at something than the other, but like, doesn't mean you're less intelligent or less smart. I think everyone has something to offer, and we all just show it in this world in a unique way, and that's what makes people special. Yeah. Well, I hope you're all enjoying this video. I know it's a lot of talking, but yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts on why I don't like the term Asperger's, or just any of those names. Um, yeah, I just prefer using autism spectrum disorder out of all of these different names for this wide rainbow of a spectrum. Anyways, I think that'll be it, and I hope you're all having a good day or good night wherever you are in this world, and Kate Meter signing out, and peace out.